6390.
6390. Okay. All right. Okay. On behalf of the Ecology Department of Cozumel, welcome to San Martin Beach. Every year our season runs from mid-May to mid-November. It starts in mid-May with the arrival of loggerheads, and then late June, July, August we get our green turtles. We have 3 turtles on the island: greens, loggerheads and hawksbills. Greens and loggerheads use it for their nesting, but not for their feeding grounds. It's the opposite way for the loggerheads. They just come for the feeding grounds, but they don't nest here. I think we may have had an odd 1 or 2 in the past, that's all. This year, from Rastas at the south end by Punta Sur, all the way to Mescalitos is the responsibility of the Ecology Department. This year we've marked 6,390 nests. Wow. Way up on last year. The parks and museums are responsible for the one beach at Punta Sur, and there's another government organisation, CONAMP, and they do 2 or 3 kilometres north of Mescalitos on the north side. But we're by far the biggest operation. All told, probably between the 2 of us, we'll probably have, I don't know, maybe over maybe 7,500 plus nests this year. So every year the males and the females will mate offshore. Having mated, the males will go. Males don't come ashore, they spend all their life at sea. He's done his duty, he's off. So the female will come ashore, she'll find a suitable nesting ground if she's disturbed, or she doesn't like the terrain, then she'll turn round and try again somewhere along the beach. She'll try 3 times. If she doesn't find a suitable place 3 times, after that 3rd time, she'll go back into the sea and she'll drop all her eggs.
Really?
It's all fish food. It's done. Okay? Once she finds a suitable place, she'll clear with her front flippers. She'll settle down, get comfortable, and then she'll start digging. She'll invert her flippers and she'll start digging with her rear flippers. If it's a loggerhead, she'll go down about 1/2 metre, 20 inches. If it's a loggerhead, it's a metre, something like 40 inches. As those ones who dug found out today. After 56, once she's done this, then she's back in the sea. She's done. She'll cover, compress, cover, and then go to the sea. She's done. There's no maternal or paternal bondship with the babies at all. They're on their own from the day they're born.
Just one breeding time?
No, she may come back for it 3 or 4 times during the season, depending on how many times that she gets fertilised by the males. But she can be fertilised 3 or 4 times.
Will she come back here each time?
She may not necessarily come back to this beach, but she'll be on along here somewhere. She may go a bit further along, somewhere like Chen Rio the next time. But normally we find that Chen Rio, San Martin and Punta Chiqueros, they're our most prolific beaches.
Is anybody doing any tagging or GPS tracking or anything?
No, they actually tagged the first one last year, I believe, but that's been the only one. So we don't normally tag. Elsewhere, I think Cozumel does, and there's an animal, there's a rehab on the island, on the mainland at Ishkaray, and they probably, once they release them after they've been treated, they probably tag them there.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, females are gone. The eggs lay in the nest for approximately 56 days, depending on the warmth. The average nest is about 30 degrees centigrade, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. A few degrees cooler, and it will be mainly male that are born. If it's warmer, it will be females, because it's the heat of the nest that dictate the actual sex. They're not sexed by the embryo, they're sexed by the heat of the nest. After around about 56 days, the ones on the centre will start to break out. They're born with a little tooth in the front there. They break the egg with that, And while they're digging their way out, that tooth will fall off. It's done its job. It's no longer necessary. It's in the way. So they'll start funneling up. To begin with, the actual term they call it is a boil, because it's just like boiling water. And then once they're ready, they funnel their way up to the surface. They'll get a few inches from the surface, then they'll stop, and they'll go back to sleep again. Because what they're doing is they're actually waiting for the change in the climate. They're waiting for it to get a little bit cooler. They understand by instinct that it's probably a bit more safer for them to come out towards night than it is during full daylight. So they'll go back to sleep, and then when they feel it's ready, the top ones will start the process. They'll galvanize the nest all over again. So what you're going to see now, just under that mound there, is where there's a nest that's lying dormant, just under the surface. So what's going to happen is Edgar is going to massage the nest to wake them up, and then he's going to do a little channel for them to come out, because we want them to come towards the sea. It's not the sound of the sea that attracts them, it's the light. So if they come out that way, they'll head for the sun. So they'll go in that way. So please, no flash photography, because that will only confuse them. Okay? Please stay outside of the flags. A, because your footprints will be another hindrance on the way down. And secondly, we've been mandated to make sure that people don't cross these lines. If you go down to the sea, you want to take photographs by all means. But if you do, plant your feet in the water securely and don't keep walking around, because otherwise it takes them 2 or 3 times to get out, and if you're moving around, there's every chance you may step on them. But we do like you to go. We do recommend you go out to stand at this end at the end of the beach and watch them, because they take their first breaths in this life as well. You'll see them go out about 1 meter, 3 feet, then they'll come up, they'll take a breath, they'll sink down, and then they'll go out another meter, and then they'll come out. And that's how they'll continue until they start getting old enough to actually stay underwater long enough. They spend their next 5 years out in open water before they start looking for feeding grounds, before they become old enough to start looking for their own food places.
What's their diet consist of?
When they're born, all sea turtles are carnivorous. They'll eat flies, they'll eat any little shellfish or anything that they can find laying in the grass. Green turtles are the only exception. They start off as carnivorous, but when they get into their juvenile years, they change over to a vegetarian diet. They're the only vegetarian adult turtle. And that's where they get their name from. Because when they start going over to being vegetarian, and their diet is mainly of seagrass, etc., underneath is blood and a layer of fat, and that fat turns to a very light green. So that's where they get their name from, not because of the colour of their shell or anything like that, it's because of their fat. Any females you see today, it will be something like 25 to 30 years before they come back and reproduce.
Oh.
Green turtles is 25 to 30, loggerheads is 15 to 20 years.
Hey, Bob. Get your glasses.